some people are interested in doing a time trial kind of game with a racing car and so on. I've set up a kind of tech demo just to show how it could work. Let's have a look at the things I've got. Obviously I've got a terrain and I've got a car. They're nothing different from anything you usually have. I've got a waypoint. Now the waypoint, what I did was I made an empty game object. So I did right click and created an empty game object. And so there's nothing there at all. I did add a collider to it, a box collider. I've also made it super wide so that, because I just wanted to make sure I was going to crash into it. So it's right in front of me. And what the idea is, I have to get from there and then back to the finish, which is here. So I start on the finish, which is exactly the same empty game object with a collider, and it's got a lot of width. So I also tagged them. So waypoint is tagged as waypoint, finish is tagged as finish, so I could detect those properly. So the car has a script, as you'd expect, and so I've got a couple of variables. One is whether I have hit the waypoint, and it starts out as being false because I haven't hit the waypoint. And I've also got this Boolean for not finished because I wanted to stop the timer when I'm finished. I'll talk about the timer in a second. So I've got an on trigger enter event. Now I did that going back to here. When I had just the box collider and I didn't have is trigger, then I collided into them and they were solid objects. That was kind of annoying. So I've put is trigger here, and all they do is trigger these events. So in here, when we have got an event triggered, I say if the game object's tag is waypoint, then I say we've hit the waypoint. Also, I say if the game object's tag was finish and we've also already hit the waypoint, then I'm going to say not finished is false, which means we've actually finished. And then the last part of this little conundrum was in the update. I've said if we're not finished, then update the timer. And I'll talk about that in just 1 second. So just assume there's a timer working for the moment. Let's just check that that actually works. I've checked it does, but if we can just see the things going on. So here's my car, and it's got a time trial script, and I made that waypoint hit public there. And if I hit play, I'm going to go forward until I hit that waypoint. So we'll see that waypoint hit turn to a tick. There it goes. And then if I go back, if you look in the top left corner, by the way, you'll see the timer is rolling. And then I go back until I hit the finish, and then the timer finishes. So you might want to just reflect on how this script makes this happen. Last little bit of the conundrum here, though, was the canvas. I've added a text. I went into right click UI, add a text, and that automatically adds a canvas and an event system for me. And if I just go and have a look, that kind of adds this random big thing over here, and the text I just dragged into the top corner, and I gave it I didn't give it a name. That was all I did. I just put it up in that top corner there. And then if you look in the script here, I've said public text the text. I've also had to put this using Unity engine.ui, otherwise it doesn't know it's using UI elements in here. And then down in here, I said the text.text equals time.time to string. So this is the time since we started, and this turns it into a text thing because time is a number and you need it to be text before you can put it onto a text object. Hope that's helpful.